Top 10 women-related topics for an essay. The role of women in Islam. It is generally considered that Muslim women are systematically oppressed. For example, many people believe that in Islamic countries, women are controlled by dictatorial fathers and husbands, forced into marriage, and have fewer rights than men. Is it really so in the modern world? You can search for statistics, real-life examples, and research evidence to prove your point. The role of colonial women in work. This topic encourages you to explore the labor roles of women in North American colonies in the 17th and 18th centuries. How were household chores distributed between men and women? Were women allowed to hunt, participate in wars, and engage in politics? When did traditional gender roles begin to change? Answer these questions in your paper. The role of women in Sophocles' Antigone. In this literary analysis essay, you should examine the significance of women characters in Sophocles' Antigone. Consider how this play reflects gender roles in ancient Greece. Is this artwork still relevant today, or have we reached gender equality? Speculate on this question in your paper. The role of women in the Vietnam War. During the Vietnam War, thousands of women served in the military as soldiers, journalists, and healthcare workers. You can devote your essay to exploring their impact on the war's outcomes and soldiers' well-being. You can write about the role of women as a whole or discuss the contributions of specific individuals. The role of women in South Asia politics. In this paper, you can analyze statistical data about women's political social participation in South Asia. Why does it remain low? What economic, social, and political consequences stem from women's underrepresentation in politics? How can South Asian countries encourage women's involvement in political life? Answer these questions in your paper. The women's career role in the institution of marriage. In the modern world, gender roles are changing, and more women have started prioritizing careers over family. What impact does this shift have on the institution of marriage? How does it affect women's attitudes toward love and family? Should we as a society be concerned about this trend toward choosing a career over family? The role of women in business from the past century to today. In this essay, your task is to explore the changing role of women in business. Start your discussion by analyzing women's labor roles in the early 20th century. Then, compare this data with current rates of women's involvement in business. What factors contributed to an increase in female entrepreneurs and managers? Consider the impact of World War I, World War II, and the women's rights movement. Prostitution and the role of women in it. Prostitution is a highly controversial phenomenon. In your essay, you can analyze the role of women in it. Is prostitution always oppressive for women? What if it is a conscious choice of an adult? Furthermore, you can explore the concept of prostitution as a victimless crime. When and why shouldn't a woman be considered a victim in this case? The role and influence of women in Western culture. Here, you can trace the evolution of women's roles in Western culture. Consider how women evolved from being housewives to winning equal rights and participating in all spheres of public life. Alternatively, you can review women's roles in the modern world. Examine how they manage to balance work, household chores, and child rearing. The role of women in the church. Women have traditionally played supportive roles in the church. What about female leadership in the church? What does the Bible say about women's participation in a service of worship? Is there a need for more equality in the treatment of men and women in the church? Explore these questions in your paper.